Matchup zone.
He'll take the 1-1-3. He'll swing it back into a 2-3. They're just trying to throw a lot of different combinations defensively at UNLV, try to catch him a little off guard.
They've got to set some picks for Lucius Harris. Brian Russell came over, but a little bit too late after he already gave up the dribble. And they've got to come out and help Harris with some picks.
And that's the part of this 1-4 offense. That pass is the key to it.
Brian Russell with a three-pointer, not known as an outside specialist. He'll take it, though, and it's a one-point game. A little bit better than 4 minutes gone.
Okay, they're still in a triangle and two. The three interior players playing zone, man-to-man with Joseph, and the other man is inside guarding Hunt. That's Harris.
Ackles blocks. Foul coming up on Cutler. Good defense, though. Good team defense to surround the ball. That's why they got the block on Ackles. Cutler picking up his first foul. That's the team's third.
You know, Kevin Cutler suffered early in the season with a hip-pointer problem, and his offensive game and defensive game both really suffered. But he's improved. He's healthy now. He's playing better, and his key is strong side rebounding.
Senior from North Carolina, George Ackles at the line. If there's a weakness on this team, it is their free throw shooting. UNLV so far this season, 69% of the line. George Ackles hitting only 57% of his tries. And he's got one of two as we're on our way to a timeout. The Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hard for the 49ers of Long Beach State. They are close, only down by 2 with 15:35.
Taco Bell is 3 times better. With 3 new menus, it's 3 times better. I tell you why. 3 old fries and I everything I like it just $59.99. Taco Supreme, not just Supreme. $59.79.99. Run for the bullet of the winter sister. $59.79.99. Taco Bell is 3 times better. $59.79.99.
If you like the old Iron Horse, voted #1 by locals for the best breakfast specials as well as exceptional values for lunch and dinner, then you're going to love the all-new Iron Horse Cafe. Same great specials, a totally new restaurant, and an expanded menu that goes all the way to China. Featuring authentic Chinese cuisine served from lunch to late night. The 24-hour Iron Horse Cafe.
The Palace Station. Play the favorite.
3-8-3100.
Seth Greenberg has to be pleased with the start of his team. Hustling at both ends of the floor. Very aggressive basketball. They're only down by 2 to the running Rebels of UNLV and capitalizing at the offensive end from long range.
Key to their 1-4 offense is they try to pull UNLV's defense to one side. You can see there's 4 players there, and their ball reversal over the top of the defense. But that's a tough shot by Russell from way outside. A great young ball player, Prop 48. They're counting a lot on Russell, who doesn't act or play like a freshman.
Over the first 13 games this year, Mario, Russell had only tried 6 three-pointers. He had 2 of those 6. Now, over the first 4.5 minutes of this contest, he's already tried 2 three-pointers. He's got the ball right now.
That's the key because they don't have an outside scoring threat besides this man with the ball, Lucius Harris, and he's supposed to be your point guard.
Harris forcing it and getting it, and it's tied at 11. Rebels looking for the break, but look at the 49ers get back in the transition game. There's the hustle. Johnson. Does he charge? Yes, he does. Good play down the baseline by Kevin Cutler.
Now, you really got to like what Long Beach State's doing right now defensively. They are just rotating over and really have a sense for what UNLV's trying to do. Cutler holds his ground, and Johnson goes up strong. And look at that block by Russell as well on the play. Good recognition, good defense, and some good interior play by this young Long Beach ball club.
Long Beach State with an opportunity to take their first lead of the game. Brian Russell just off the mark as Anthony looks for the break on the outlet from Augment. Anderson Hunt. And on the weak side, Troy Joseph with the rebound. Would you say, Mario, this is the one team, the Big West, that athletically, besides New Mexico State, can really get up and down the floor and compete with UNLV?
Definitely. Definitely. They have a lot of athletes on this club. They may not be great outside scorers, but look at that, like Joseph. And here they
back
come
again.
And they can run the break very well.
Harris, he'd love to get in the open floor game. He's fouled by Ackles. It doesn't drop, but he'll go to the line, trying to give Long Beach State their first lead of the night. A little over 5.5 minutes into the game.
thing you got to love about Lucius Harris is his ability as a young man to play so poised and confident. He just attacks the basket, goes right into the strength of the UNL defense, switches his hands, and looks for that opportunity to score off the glass.
That is the first foul on George Ackles, fourth team foul on UNLV. As Frankie Edwards comes into the game for Long Beach State, Kevin Cutler. Good idea, giving Cutler a couple of minutes on the bench, because they have been moving up and down the floor quickly in the transition game. So Edwards, the junior from Millikan High School in Long Beach, the first substitution for Seth Greenberg. Now this is a team as well that really had their problems with the free throw line. They could have a much better record in Big West Conference play if they could simply hit their free throws. Harris gets 1 of 2 on the season, though. They have only hit 60% of their foul shots.
Joel, they're even less than that in the conference, only 55%. That's cost them a couple of ball games in conference so far this year.
Johnson lost it in midair. Russell after it. It's out of bounds, belonging to UNLV.
UNLV tried to go for that over-the-top alley-oop pass that time, but give Russell credit. He came over in a hurry and challenged that shot by Johnson.
Mike Masucci, junior from Kansas City, a transfer from the University of Kansas in there now as Anderson Hunt's off the mark. Ogman follows.
There's the man we talked about. You must keep Stacey Ogman off the glass. He may be the toughest man to figure out how to guard on this UNLV team because he hurts you from the outside as well as the inside.
Masucci, usually a good passer from the post position, penetrates himself. He's rejected by Ackles. Ackles gets his second foul, though, in the last 45 seconds. Well, if they can get not only Ackles in foul trouble, but look at the guard situation for UNLV, and we will in a second.
And this is exactly what Long Beach wanted to try to do early in the game. Drive and attack it inside, trying to pick up the fouls in there. They've got 2 on Ackles right now. And that one on Masucci. Good drive, as Masucci is a good offensive threat. A little limited defensively, but he takes the ball to the hole.
Elmore Spencer, the most pleasant development this year for the Running Rebels of UNLV, has come in. He's a junior college transfer from Connors State Junior College in Warner, Oklahoma. He's replaced Ackles, who sits down with 2 personal fouls over the first 6 minutes and 18 seconds of the game. Masucci is tied it at 13. 6 points so far this season per game. Lane violation. Wipes out that second free throw, so it stays tied at 13. But into the backcourt situation once again. Travis Bice not suited up tonight. He is out. He's got the flu. That means they're a little bit lighter in the backcourt, and they're not deep there to begin with. I'm talking about UNLV.
That's the point. And here's Anthony, who Long Beach is trying to isolate tonight and let him shoot that ball from the outside. But you're right, Joel. They don't have a lot of depth at the guard spot.
Anthony doesn't get the three-pointer. Frankie Edwards thrown to the floor. Is the foul on Johnson?
Yes, it is.
Yes, and that's the second on Larry Johnson. So right now, Johnson with 2, Ackles with 2, and Tarkanian has got to be concerned.
Here's Anthony from the top of the key. Inside Johnson trying to get the position and just throws Frankie Edwards to the ground if he tries to clear inside. But credit Long Beach. They're trying to go to the board strong.
Harris. Oh, good touch, and a nice tap in by Brian Russell.
We talked about it. Long Beach has got some athletes, and they have come to play here tonight.
It's a 2-point lead for the 49ers. 7 minutes into the game. Ogman for 3. And a 1-point lead very quickly for the Running Rebels. Troy Joseph, not much of a threat from the outside. He's more of a penetrator, a creator. Masucci for 3. He's got to get back defensively, though. He followed it, and all of a sudden, it's Johnson for the 3. Once Masucci followed his own shot, you knew it was going to be an easy 3-on-1 break. A 3-point lead for the Rebels. That has been their biggest lead. Actually, a 4-point lead, an 8-4 for UNLV. Harris.
And the defensive pressure by UNLV just gets turned up as a result of that.
Ryan Russell touched it last. Give all the credit in the world, though, to Greg Anthony working on Lucius Harris out front.
He's the quarterback out there. When he starts playing him more aggressively on the defensive side, everyone else responds.
Johnson for 3. Long rebound. Harris has it, and Harris looks for the break. Hunt, the only one there, and he's fouled by Hunt. Anderson Hunt with a foul now. Greg Anthony also with a foul. And that is the 17th foul on UNLV. They are already over the limit, so 1-and-1 time.
And what a great play by Lucius Harris to silence this crowd a little bit. Just knows what he needs to do, take the ball to the hole, and draws that foul from Hunt. And a little shove there from Stacey Ogman.
Lucius Harris, the leading scorer, second leading scorer in the Big West Conference, leading man for Long Beach State.
He really came on down the second half down the stretch last season and in the Big West tournament. Had 30 points against New Mexico State in the tournament. Clearly was one of the most explosive players in the Big West Conference.
Now they want Anthony to take that shot. You can see the way they're sagging back into the middle, inviting Anthony to take it. Willing behind the three-point line. He's off the mark.
That's exactly what they're trying and hoping to do, and they've got a break now from Long Beach.
Ryan Russell is a little late to Frankie Edwards, and Edwards very wisely slows it up and starts it all over. Good heads-up play.
Hard play by Frankie Edwards that time. Get into their offense.
Troy Joseph on the drive. And a rejection. The rejection there by Spencer. The break. Russell, what a play. All in one sweeping motion to Lucius Harris.
Is he athletic or what? I mean, this young guy, Russell, has really shown us something tonight.
Masucci free on the baseline. He misses his last two in a row. It's still a one-point UNLV lead. Anthony on the break. It's up to three.
What a great drive by Anthony. What a creator out there for his teammates and for himself.
They're looking inside. Edwards hit from behind by Augment. UNLV picking up a lot of silly fouls, basically mental mistakes, not in position defensively. And normally, you don't see UNLV reaching in like that from behind. Second now on Stacey Augment.
And here's Coach Tarkanian telling him about the very fact that Long Beach is trying to exploit it by running post people up towards the free throw line. And that time, Stacey Augment got caught reaching in.
Frankie Edwards shooting the 1-and-1. He has only hit 60% of his free throws, though, this year. 11:04 left in the first half. It stays a three-point UNLV lead. Augment, he's already hit a three-pointer. Hunt, their best three-point shooter. Inside, though, Johnson and Augment both hitting 64% of their shots from the field. An amazing percentage. The best in UNLV history, 65%. Jarvis Bass-Knight. Anthony, the penetration.
And that's the
five-point lead.
That's the way Anthony's diagnosing his defense right now. He knows that he can either take the shot from the outside or fake it and penetrate and drive and either take it himself or dish it off for the assist.
10.5 minutes left in the first.
UNLV showing a little zone of their own right now.
And almost thrown away, Masucci. Did he get away with a walk? Frankie Edwards doesn't get it to fall. Tries to bat it out. Augment saves it on the sideline. Hunt for three. It's almost like he's better on the move as opposed to when he's receiving the ball all in one motion and going straight up. It seems like he likes to take it up off the dribble.
He is. He's a better shooter in that regard many times. But that time, just good defense by Lucius Harris, too, to get in his face and alter that shot.
Good ball movement on the perimeter by Long Beach State. He gets Troy Joseph. He finds the open lane and he charges in the process, bowling over Stacey Augment. And a substitution coming up for Seth Greenberg. Bobby Sears coming into the game when we come back to the Thomas & Mack Center. So Bobby Sears will be in the backcourt, the junior from Inglewood, California. For head coach Seth Greenberg of the 49ers, his team very effective.
Thinking about a new car or truck but don't think you can afford it? At Gordon Ford and Import Center, we slash prices so everybody can afford to drive a new Ford in 91. We have special dealer incentives, rebates up to $1,500 and interest rates as low as 7.9%. Get the 91 Ford Ranger starting at $169 per month for only 24 months. Rugged yet fun to drive. And the 91 Ford Taurus with airbag and anti-lock brakes for only $299 per month for 24 months. You can afford to buy new at Gordon Ford and Import Center, 2121 East Sahara.
The tradition of dining at Binion's Horseshoe. Great service, great food, great prices. Like our $2 steak and our $2 breakfast, the best in Las Vegas. Or Italian cuisine with pizzazz at Benito's. And Binion's famous steaks, of course. Then for that special evening, elegant cuisine and a spectacular view, the Sky Room. The special dining tradition of Binion's Horseshoe, where value, service, and good taste are served with every meal.
Welcome back to the Thomas & Mack Center. Joel Myers along with Mario Palladini. Obviously in the early going, they want Anthony to take the shot from the outside. They don't want to see him penetrate, Mario.
In this case, look, he's got 6 feet between himself and the closest defensive player. It didn't drop that time, and Long Beach rebounds, kicks it out, and gets going. Next time down, he's open again at the top of the key with Masucci, a slower player, great recognition, and just drives and penetrates and lays it in.
Long Beach State has to feel great about their position right now, only down by 5 because they've only hit 35% of their shots. And They've been playing good defense, though, as you can see. Only 39% for the Running Rebels of UNLV is UNLV. It's better than 50%. Normally, close to 53% of their season. Rebounding edge also to UNLV as the weak side lob is batted away by Frankie Edwards. They wanted to go to Augment. It's last touch by Augment, and it goes back to Long Beach State. Good recognition.
They've done a tremendous job so far in the first half in that area. Defensive recognition, understanding what UNLV is trying to do in their offense.
Masucci trying to get it to Bobby Sears. It's batted away. Anthony leading the break with Hunt. Hunt going to the line. Well, not much Bobby Sears could do on that after it was deflected on the pass attempt by Masucci.
That's the kind of play that'll make Seth Greenberg lose even a little more hair because they're not reacting. He's not reacting well offensively. Masucci that time trying to get it back, but couldn't handle that simple pass inside with the defense from UNLV.
What did Seth tell us before the game? My hair is going on the defense?
Yeah, he says, we need to play defense, and my hair's been on the defense as well.
He is fun to talk to.
Oh, I'll tell you, he's a great coach, great character, and he's loved by his players. I mean, he's always had a great deal of respect from players and from coaches alike because of his ability to work so hard, bring speed to the game, the great X's and O man. You know, a lot of credit last year with the team that they had went to him for being the X's and O man.
And please stick around with us at this time because Mario had an opportunity to talk with Seth Greenberg before the game. Hear that conversation in just a little bit. Harris on the three-point miss. Augment. They're inviting him to take a three-point try. Anthony. Augment will from an angle.
I mean, sooner or later, you can't let a guy like Augment and Anthony out there wide open without them at least taking the shot.
And there's the defensive pressure again. They get it away from Harris, and it's back to the Running Rebels, who already lead it by 10. They put up a spurt that we've seen so often now this year that seems like it only takes a minute or two. Right now, just a couple of minutes ago, less than that, it was a three-point lead. It's up to 10, and they've got the ball.
And they do it even after a timeout. Long Beach had the timeout last time down floor. Augment hits the three. Now they force a defensive turnover in their time. That's the spurt you're talking about, and that's so demoralizing. You work so hard to stay so close, and then they can turn the ball over and pick up points in a hurry.
Bigger lineup in there now. Ronnie Winbush coming off the bench for the 49ers from Long Beach State. The bounce pass to Johnson. A tough one rejected by Adam Henderson. The loose ball picked up by Everett Way. Now that's a tough break. Henderson makes a sensational play, and they still get two. So they do have a taller lineup in there.
Yeah, with Ronnie Winbush now 21, he'll look to be more of a point guard and try to get Harris back to his more normal two spot, and there's a bad pass.
Telegraphed the pass all the way. Anthony fouled on his way to the basket by Brian Russell, who made the mental mistake with the bad pass. Poor entry pass.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate mistake by Russell last time. Saw his man flashing up to the middle, but much too late, and definitely telegraphing it.
And I like this idea. He does not like the way things are developing. Quickly calls a timeout. It'll be free throw time for the Rebels when we come back to the Thomas & Mack Center.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Wilden. At Wilden's Pride Dodge, we're slashing prices during our 3rd anniversary sale. Select this 1991 Shadow America, the lowest priced American car, for just $74.98. The sporty 91 Spirit for only $96.50, or truly one of America's most luxurious cars, the 91 Dodge Dynasty, for $11,788. All are equipped with driver's airbags. Come see us at Wilden's Pride Dodge. You'll be glad you did.
That's Pride Dodge. That's Pride Dodge.
Rock and roll is the devil's chamber music, and these animals are his orchestra.
Time to get hot and sticky, sweet with the Stones brown sugar.
They're corrupting our moral fiber and advocating the overthrow of our government.
Dan Quayle's wife said to him, you know, you're no Jack Kennedy.
They'll burn for this. You mark my word.
Comp 92.3, the rock of Las Vegas. It's not for everybody.
Don't forget to join us on Sports Channel. Next Big West matchup is Utah State and Long Beach State. Mario and I will be in Long Beach on Thursday night. It'll all start at 7:30. Then the next West Coast Conference game with Steve Pisiak and Dan Belwamity. That'll be Pepperdine and the University of San Francisco Dons on Friday night at 8 o'clock. And Mario, we are going to hit the road on Friday because we'll be on our way to New Mexico State. We'll be in Las Cruces on Saturday night. That should be a very good game. Utah State, the Aggies, taking on Neil McCarthy's New Mexico State squad.
And Utah State is a good, solid basketball team. Con Smith's doing a great job up there as a great player in Goodman. And I'm anxious to see New Mexico State again with that tremendous matchup zone defense that Neil McCarthy employs down there. Right now, UNLV has not done all that well from three-point range. Anderson Hunt in particular is 0 of 4 from three-point range. Stacey Augmon, though, is 3 for 3. Stacey Augmon also with 8 rebounds. He's been the big reason they've got a 29-17 lead, not because of the three-pointers, but because of all the steals he's created at the offensive end of the 49ers. Anthony. He's the all-time steal leader at UNLV, and every team tries to figure out how they're going to stop Stacey Augmon, and nobody has been able to do that so far this season. 49ers over the last 2.5 minutes have been outscored now 12-0 by the running Rebels. And his zone defense that UNLV has employed really has made the difference. Augmon that time attacking the ball. They have great anticipation, great team defense, knowing how to rotate his group against any kind of an offensive threat that Long Beach poses. 2.5 minutes ago was 18-17. Now it's 30-17. Low percentage pass. That was Ronnie Winbusher making Harris, who was trying to get it inside. You don't want to lob it over a zone, especially UNLV zone. He'll come backside on the weak end of it and pick it off like he did that time. Ackles makes it a 14-0 run. The spurt I was talking about. They do it so quickly. And Long Beach has had 2 timeouts during his spurt, and they're still not able to withstand the onslaught here by UNLV. Last Saturday night, 20-18, Fresno State is trailing this team, running Rebels by a couple. All of a sudden, 29-8 run. Another takeaway, another steal for UNLV. This is how they get it done with the steals at the defensive end. That was Augmon missing underneath foul. It'll be called on Cutler. Right now they can make it a 16-0 run. The breakdown for UNLV on the offensive side with the bad passes. They're getting a little bit shaken out there. And defensively, inside, they're having trouble as well, even though UNLV has some foul problems with those 3 right there. 3 key players with 2 fouls apiece. But Johnson last time split 2 defensive players from Long Beach State and got the rebound. And here he is at the line as a result of that. You cannot tell that threesome is playing with 2 fouls apiece. You really can't. So many players are tentative once they get to that point in the first half. They think, I can't pick up the third. I don't want the third before the second half. And they slack off a little bit defensively. That has not been apparent from that 3. And this man here doesn't slack off. He doesn't know what the word slack off means. Plays 100% the entire game. Tremendous work ethic. So those 3 done a great job at the defensive end despite the 2 fouls. And it's now 34-17, a 17-point lead. And a 16-0 run currently going for UNLV. And Joel, you can see the frustration right now, not just on Seth Greenberg's face a little bit, but Lucius Harris, the point guard at times, trying to go up against that 1-1-3 matchup, spreading the floor and just couldn't even make a pass to the sideline. And it's almost been total ball denial on Harris in particular. As finally, they break the 16-0 run. Cutler comes through. They got it inside of the zone. Gray had ideas. Everett Gray will put points in a hurry. Averages better than 7 points in 13 minutes of action a game. Anthony penetrating. High percentage effort. Doesn't convert. There, though. Everett Gray reminds me of another Everett. He plays for Louisville. Everett Sullivan. Both great athletes. Gray a little bit larger, though. A little bit bigger. And Gray can put the points on the board in such a quick period of time off the bench. What a boost he's given this UNLV team, who many people thought had some questionable depth at the early part of the season. There's Chris Towers, just came in off the last time out. Joseph. Shot. The southpaw gets it. And it's back to a 15-point game. That's what Joseph does so well, is he's able to drive inside. Not a great outside scorer, so he has to penetrate in there and create his own opportunities. Everett Gray. He can go inside, he can go outside. Brian Russell doing a great job of boxing out Augmon, but nobody else was in the neighborhood. You think he's trying to keep Stacey off the boards, huh? Augmon caught in midair. Almost got the basket, even though Ackles touched the rim on his way up. Augmon will go to the line to shoot 2. Well, you got to love the intensity that man, Stacey Augmon, plays with. get a chance to see the box out. 32 underneath there, right at the middle of your screen. Russell doing everything, including a little back of the arm push on Stacey Augmon to keep him blocked off the boards, but forgot about going for that ball.
So Augmon is fouled on the play by Chris Tower. He picks up his first. It's the 8th team foul.
We talked about the points that Stacey Augmon's putting up this year. One of the points that people made in the preceding years was that his offensive game was a little suspect, but not this year. He's been able to improve his perimeter game. That's why his shooting percentage of 64% that you mentioned earlier, Joel, is so astounding. He's doing it outside as well as inside.
Augmon will sit down after hitting the 2 free throws to give the Rebels a 17-point lead. Anderson Hunt back in the game for UNLV. 5.5 minutes left in the first half. They've got to get the ball into the hands of Lucius Harris more often. He has been extremely quiet. Chris Tower.
Oh.
And Tower, the young man from Huntington Beach, California, the sophomore.
That's a nice shot by Tower, who transferred from the University of New Mexico. Not known for his offensive ability, more of a defensive player, but he had the open baseline jumper.
Johnson got the position. He really did a number inside.
And did Anthony ever pick that one off? Did he know that he was there? I mean, that was a tremendous penetrating pass by Anthony.
Johnson does a great job with the angles inside, though. So if the pass is there, he's already available for it. Let's look back on the last play. The entry pass, a good one, but watch the way Johnson works his man.
You see him at the top of the screen on the right side. He already has the great position. He already has his man playing on his back, and now he's on his hip, and forget it. When you're on his hip and he's that far inside, forget it. He's going to go up to the glass hard and come away with a bucket.
17-point lead. Tough way to bring the ball in bounds, isn't it? Yeah. Harris can't pressure all the way, coming in his face. Everett Gray leaping out.
Harris is going to have to put the ball on the floor once and get around that pressure.
Long Beach State with 10 turnovers. Larry Johnson can't get the three-pointer. Elmore Spencer loses it. Troy Joseph has it. But that great defense creating so many turnovers. 10 now for Long Beach State. Rebels, on an average, get 21 from their opponent. Joseph over the rim, over the backboard, and the ball back to UNLV.
That's a tough situation there with Joseph playing the 2-guard spot, and he's not really a 2-guard. He's more of a small forward and not known for his outside game, better at penetrating, yet he's forced to take the open shot. He can't get it to go.
So many players on the floor for Long Beach State. Seth Greenberg has not been bashful about going to his bench in the first half. Spencer working against some of the big men for Long Beach State, drawing the foul after he got around on the baseline. Not a bad job on the hook either.
Yeah, but a good example right here with that hook getting around. But Masucci not quick enough with the feet, and that's one of the problems with Mike Masucci is his interior defense sometimes a little suspect, forcing Russell to come over, and the more athletic Russell picks up the unfortunate foul. He's got 3 now.
Brian Russell working with 3. He is the first to pick up that many for either team. And Elmore Spencer missing the first of 2. Now, you look at a player like Spencer, who joins this program as a junior college transfer. Seth Greenberg on the opposite side for Long Beach State. He's got tall players, there's no question about that. He's got 7 players on his roster, 6'8", or larger. But the problem is, take an Adam Henderson, who's a freshman. He's 6'11", he's only 210 pounds. They don't have any real bulk down to the baseline.
Yeah. They have a lot of athletes, not a lot of bulk. And they don't have a lot of good outside scores, and that's really, I think, the key to this basketball team, along with the fact that the point guard spot has been such a problem for them this season.
Spencer with the block of Frankie Edwards. Punt for Greg Anthony.
Yep, he's responding to the challenge.
Biggest lead of the night at 20 now for UNLV.
I mean, every team tries a different defensive scheme against UNLV. We've seen everything so far, Joel, this by all the teams we've had, and yet it always seems that UNLV can respond. One player every night seems to rise to the occasion.
This shark, that shark, and the other shark on the bench have to be pleased because the running Rebels are up by 20.
Gary Martin, President, Nevada Copy Systems.
With our new Sharp fax machines, you can do more business, better business by sending high-resolution copies across town, across the state, around the world in 12 seconds for pennies. And of course, Sharp is the #1 selling line of fax machines in America today.
Order your Sharp fax machines today. Call Nevada Copy Systems, the authority in office technology.
Call 736-COPY.
15 years ago, gold was only $161 an ounce. 8 years ago, a John of Sorrow was only $6,000. 3 years ago, a New York penthouse was only $1 million. And this year, a Lexus ES250 is only $21,300. Visit Fletcher Jones Lexus while opportunity is still knocking.
Board also in the rebounding department. They're up by 9 over the 49ers of Long Beach State. Welcome back to the Thomas and Mack Center. Joel Myers along with Mario Palladini. A 20-point lead for the #1 team in the nation. With 3:22 left in the first half. Believe it or not, it was a close game with 10 minutes left in the first half. Long Beach State was only down by 3. But then UNLV went on a 16-0 run. Long Beach State has only been able to complete and hit 35% of their shots so far, 46% for UNLV. Over the last 8 minutes, extending it a bit further now from 16-0. For the last 8 minutes, it's been a 25-6 run for the Runnin' Rebels. And Long Beach State, with a great defensive pressure, they've even had problems bringing the ball inbounds. Good hands by Anthony. Got a break. The officials in play. Anthony will go to the line to shoot 2, and he's upset. He was pulled down by Bobby Sears.
And he got a little hot about it because he went down hard, and it brings back memories of last year when he broke his jaw. In a similar type play, it was a drive like this where he did fall and hurt himself. And that's the kind of thing that kind of brings back a lot of bad memories and a lot of suffering for Anthony that he went through last year. But knowing Bobby Sears, that was not anything to be looked at as being an intentional situation, and it was obvious there they both felt that way.
Anthony now with 11. Bobby Sears picking up his second personal foul. And Greg Anthony, second in the nation. With those 9.7 assists per game.
I think it's just a matter of time before he, in fact, leads the nation in assists. Chris Corciani, North Carolina State, of course, the other man who's up there who leads the nation in assists. Look at that defense. I mean, it's just a swarming defense, and it's ever since UNLV went to the zone midway through this half that Long Beach has not been able to respond, and Seth Greenberg tried with 2 timeouts and still couldn't get anything to settle down for his ball club. They can't get the ball out.
Almost a 5 count. Masucci finally has it. Sears working the point now. Kenny Jarvis, co-captain, seen his first couple of minutes of the game.
See, right now Long Beach is standing around. They have nobody flashing up towards the middle.
Almost over and back. Right in front of him.
There's Masucci flashing to the middle. He's got to kick it back out.
He didn't hear you.
Yeah, he's got to kick it back. Get a little inside-outside game going. You can't attack a zone like that.
Outstanding defense from UNLV. And a takeaway by Larry Johnson. Another steal and a foul. Or no, he's on the baseline. Out of bounds. Really look at that UNLV bench. I love it. Coaches normally are all together up front. All 4 or 5 of the assistant coaches, like you see with Long Beach State. But UNLV, forget about it. Nothing normal about Jerry Tarkanian's team. They're spread out. One coach about 3 or 4 players down, another coach another 2 or 3 players down, and the third coach at the end of the bench.
The key thing, though, is that they all have their designated role.
Yes, without a doubt.
They understand that the man in the middle there with the white shirt is the man that makes it all go. But he is interesting. I talked to him before the game the other night at Irvine. He was telling me about Ron Adams, who's come over from Fresno State, done a great job for him. His man to his left there on the right of your screen, Tim Gergich, that's Adams on your left. I mean, those are 2 outstanding assistant coaches. Adams, a great defensive technician on the left, and Gergich, University of Pittsburgh, an outstanding coach on the defensive end as well.
And it's going to be tough for a lot of head coaches, including Jerry Tarkanian, with the recent rules and new amendments from the NCAA convention. You have to lose an assistant coach now.
Good point, because he's got a lot of assistants on that bench. There's no doubt about that.
Picking up some of the conversation from the UNLV huddle.
Just ultimate respect for Jerry Tarkanian by his players. I haven't seen a situation in a shoot-around day of the game that is as quiet and as focused as the ones that he has here. The players come, they play for an hour, they work hard, there's no nonsense, everybody knows their role, and it's all because of the respect they have for what Coach Tarkanian has been able to teach them and develop them and make them the team that they are.
Long Beach State trailing by 22. 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in the first half. Johnson and Augman leading the way as usual for UNLV. Johnson coming in with a 23.3-point average with 15 so far. And also the rebounding. A combination of 15 rebounds for Johnson and Augman together.
I'll tell you, this matchup zone that UNLV employs just causes havoc. Look at that. You're forced to take outside shots you normally don't take. They can't even draw iron in that particular instance.
This does not look like the same 49er team since UNLV went to the zone, matchup zone, and Seth Greenberg has just picked up a technical foul. Really upset.
You know, maybe you can't blame him because he's trying to make a point here right now. He doesn't want his team to get intimidated at this point. He's just trying to settle the score a little bit with the referees. Make him aware that he's still into this basketball game. I'm surprised Seth still got his coat on, though. And that's an awfully nice-looking tie, too, you know. He really knew this was going to be a national game because that's an awfully nice tie for Seth, I'll tell you. He's still chewing.
Are you insinuating that he usually wears clip-ons?
No, he usually throws them. The coats, the ties, everything. See, when he got expensive clothing like he has tonight, he's not apt to throw it away as easily.
It has been a long, dry spell. And coming up at halftime, a conversation with Seth Greenberg, the head coach of the 49ers in his first season as their leader. 3 years an assistant there under Joe Harrington, who moved on to Colorado.
And what a job Joe Harrington's doing at Colorado. He has that team in a winning streak. They're 10-4. They hadn't seen a winning season in years up there.
Anthony on the miss, the loose ball. Last touch by Sears. Good effort by Bobby Sears, who played his high school ball with Inglewood High School, along with Harold Miner, the Trojans of USC. What a big win for George Ravlin's team today over the Stanford Cardinals. Line drive, three-pointer for Everett Gray. It's getting ugly early.
I love the diversity that Everett Gray gives this UNLV team. He's so effective around the basket, so athletic, and there he goes out in the corner and buries the three. Nice thing about it is he can spell Augman. He backs up Augman at the power spot.
Sears. And a jump ball situation, alternating possession arrow going to the 49ers. One of the few breaks they've had in the first half.
Well, Bobby Sears has really been having a tough situation this year, handling that point guard spot. And there's a young man I interviewed at halftime, David Rice. Hope you'll join us for that because it's very bright, a Rhodes Scholar nominee here. 3.96 poli-sci major, Joel. That make you think about the days when you were in school?
Yeah.
3.96. Wants to be a politician.
I can remember those days. I can't relate, though. So the 49ers, with less than a minute left in the first half, are trailing now by 27. We have not seen Lucius Harris for some time off the 49ers bench.
Right now, Long Beach is just trying to get something going inside with Henderson. And here's Cutler trying to flash inside, but a terrible pass again, that time from Troy Joseph.
Unofficially, I've got them with 12 turnovers now. Rebels get an average of 21, a little bit better than 21 a game from their opponents. That is at 12. UNLV has only committed 5 to Anthony. No, this is getting too tough. A 30-point lead. Hang on to it, guys. Take one shot. Don't give them a chance to get it back. Cutler will, though. He's got it.
Well, he's a good offensive player. They've got to look for Cutler. He's trying to get himself open. And here, looking on the defensive side, is Anthony just penetrates so easily.
Cutler. And they run out of time. not aware of how much time was left in the first half. A dismal second 10 minutes of the first half. The first 10 minutes, it looked like it was going to be a very close contest. But then the running Rebels simply just pulled away with a great defensive pressure, pulling away from Long Beach State.
Each year, the experts at Car and Driver look at over 100 cars, so you don't have to. From the current new cars, they just picked their 10 best. At the most, you'll probably only buy one of them. That's too bad, because 2 of the 10 best are Mercury's. Mercury Sable and Mercury Tracer LTS.
Only at Tom Coward Lincoln Mercury. Full sales and service on both sides of town.
Come to the new Palace Station during our grand reopening and try the all-new Iron Horse Cafe, featuring authentic Chinese cuisine and American fare. Or the new Whistle Stop Snack Bar for great deli sandwiches. And the new Palace Saloon with nightly live entertainment. Our 600-room tower and new parking garage are just steps from all the fun. It's an all-new Palace Station. It'll be your favorite all over again.
Palace Station. Play the favorite.
Dick Tracy, he had the perfect girlfriend.
Tess, you're 1 in a million.
He had the perfect job.
Extra, extra, Tracy Battle!
Until the mob found the perfect weapon.
Breathless Mahoney, meet Dick Tracy.
You're gonna make a move, do I have to do everything?
Now, the next move he makes...
Just don't ask me to like it.
...could be his last.
Trust me. I bet she does some nifty undercover work.
Warren Beatty is Dick Tracy.
Now playing on request.
Them people on KOMP radio are all a bunch of smart alecks. They should have their mouth washed out with lye soap.
No, I'm not affected. Shut up and listen.
And all that rock and roll. B.U. I'd rather hear a dog puke.
KOMP rocking with the Stones on the Rock of Las Vegas.
They ought to be took out and shot.
Comp 92.3. It's not for everybody.
Basketball on Sports Channel. Joel Myers along with Mario Palladini. Running Rebels pulling away over the final 11 minutes of the first half. A 35-8 run for UNLV. Well, before tonight's game, Mario had a chance to talk with the first-year head coach at Long Beach State. Let's check in with the conversation now with Seth Greenberg.
With me now, Long Beach State head coach Seth Greenberg. Coach Greenberg, of course, one of the most respected assistants in the country, and at 34 years of age, got his shot at being a head coach, one of the younger head coaches. Was it truly a dream come true for you?
Well, Mario, you know, you got to realize how many guys never get an opportunity to coach their own team and who never get a chance to go from assistant coach to head coach. So it's a great opportunity for me. I'm excited about it. It hasn't started off as well as I planned, to be honest with you, but there's a lot of basketball games to be played, and I'm excited about my career and an opportunity to coach my own team.
One of the characteristics you've always had is you've grown great admiration from your players for the dedication, for the caring that you have, and yet now as a head coach, does that transition change?
Well, no, I think I really have a philosophy that, you know, there are 2 different jobs. There's your job on the court, and I think you've got to be very, very demanding on the floor. But off the court, I think you've got to have a personal side. And, you know, you've got to separate the 2. The kids got to know that you're going to care about them as people off the court. If you don't, you're going to lose them. You can't be demanding and get after them on the floor and then off the floor just ignore them. It's got to be some type of relationship where they know that you care about them, you believe in them, and you want them to succeed both academically and athletically.
Tonight you go up against one of the great college coaches of all time, of course, Jerry Tarkanian. Is that a motivating factor for you personally?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I could beat Tark one-on-one, Mary. I'd have no doubt about that. I worry more about Larry Johnson and Stacey Augmon. You know, playing against Tark's team, obviously going to be an outstanding, they're an outstanding team. They're well coached. They defend well. They run the floor well. He's the best in the business. You know, he's done it for years and years and years, starting at Long Beach and obviously culminating with last year's national championship. But it's a great opportunity. It's exciting. My biggest concern is getting hit by one of the sparks from the fireworks tonight.
Your team last season was an outstanding ball club, went a long way. A lot of returning players, except for one. The point guard, Tyrone Mitchell. How much of an impact has the loss of Mitchell as a leader been to this basketball team?
Well, I think it's been great. I think, you know, he's kind of the heart and soul of our squad. He gave us some mental and physical toughness. When we had little droughts, when we couldn't get a stop or we needed a loose ball, it seemed like Tyrone always made the play. Plus, Tyrone did something else for us, which was kind of interesting. he was kind of a coach on the floor, in the locker room, and away from the court. So a lot of the things that we have to deal with day to day, Tyrone would kind of handle. So we miss him, but you know, I think we're making the transition now. It's been difficult on Bobby Sears. It's been difficult on me. But, you know, I think, you know, Lucius is getting acclimated to the position, and I think we're improving, and I feel very good about the way we're playing.
Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck the rest of the way.
Mara, it's always a pleasure.
All righty. Seth Greenberg, Long Beach State head coach, has joined us. We'll be back right after this timeout.
It's almost game time. Henry's relaxed, but Jim is scrambling. Jim tries every 900 number. Plenty of losers and bills. Jim reads all the papers and gets what he pays for. Not much. Jim stays in the dark with out-of-date information from tout sheets. He needs what Henry already knows, that Denny Sheridan, Larry Norris, and Art Manteras give expert picks and analysis before every playoff game. Between the Lines, hosted by Jim Simpson, live from the Las Vegas Hilton Superbook and only on pay-per-view.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Wilden. At Wilden's Pride Dodge, we're slashing prices during our 3rd anniversary sale. Select this 1991 Shadow America, the lowest priced American car, for just $74.98. The sporty 91 Spirit for only $96.50, or truly one of America's most luxurious cars, the 91 Dodge Dynasty, for $11,788. All are equipped with driver's airbags. Come see us at Wilden's Pride Dodge. You'll be glad you did.
At Pride Dodge. At Pride Dodge. A reputation you could ride on Big O tires.
Big O gives you one of the toughest tire warranties around. You get a flat, we fix it. And if we can't fix it, you get a new tire. It's that simple. We'll rotate your tires every 5,000 miles, and when they need to be rebalanced, we'll do it. And it's free for the life of your Big O tires. That's Big O.
A reputation you could ride.
5 Las Vegas locations to serve you.
Thinking about a new car or truck, but don't think you can afford it? At Gauden Ford and Import Center, we slash prices so everybody can afford to drive a new Ford in '91. We have special dealer incentives, rebates up to $1,500, and interest rates as low as 7.9%. Get the new front-wheel drive Ford Escort from $152 per month for only 24 months. Great gas mileage and low insurance rates. And the world's best-selling pickup, the Ford F-Series, for as little as $10,997. You can afford to buy new at Gauden Ford and Import Center, 2121 East Sahara.
It's a future of new technology, challenging us to stay on the cutting edge. A future of new designs, just now emerging from young, creative minds. A future of artistic expression, expanding our cultural horizons. Our future depends on the environments we provide for minds to grow and ideas to flourish. Because a university community is where the future begins.
It's halftime at the Thomas and Mack Center at the campus of the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. And welcome back once again. A 53-25 lead for the #1 team in the nation. Running Rebels, trying to raise their record to 13-0. Before tonight's game, Mario spoke with a senior, a Rhodes Scholar candidate here at UNLV, David Rice. Let's pick up on that. A political science major.
A lot of times, halftime interviews with basketball players are always about basketball and basketball. Tonight, a little bit of a different look. David Rice, scholar athlete here at UNLV, 3.96 poli-sci major, and a man who has a few things to say about world affairs. Of course, we've had a situation in the Persian Gulf, and I know you're actively involved in political science and in studying world affairs. Your thoughts about that as an athlete and as a member of this basketball team?
Well, I think, first of all, it's very difficult to stay focused on the game of basketball because really, you have to keep it in perspective. We're out here playing what really boils down to just a game, while other people our same age are out possibly giving their life for their country. And so I think that basketball often has to take a back seat to something of this magnitude.
What do you feel about the situation personally as a part of your studies?
Well, I think it's a tremendous shame and a very sad commentary on society that it's gotten to this point, that one man could pose such a potential threat and has actually posed a threat to the world. I think that it's important that we take care of the situation now because 10 years down the road it could be something which could develop into something very, very serious, even more so than it is right now.
Dave, you've been a Rhodes Scholar candidate from the university, represent them very well. What can you say about the academic situation here at UNLV, in particular with your political science background?
Well, I'm very proud of the education that I've gotten at UNLV, and I think sometimes UNLV as a whole, the athletic department in particular, takes a bad rap. Coach Tarkanian is very, very interested in seeing that his players graduate. I think that it speaks very well of the program that this year either 5 or all 6 of us who are seniors will graduate. We'll march in commencement exercises in May, and I think that says something about it. Larry Johnson and I both made the dean's list, and to qualify for that, it takes a 3.5 grade point average, and so I think it speaks well of the program as a whole.
Of course, you have a great three-point shot from the outside, but looking beyond basketball someday, what do you hope to be able to do with it?
Very much want to go into politics. I feel called to be a politician. I feel like there are many things in the world that I'd like to see changed, and I'd very much like to be an active part of that.
Are you a member of any political group here in Nevada?
Sure, I'm very actively involved in the Young Republicans of Nevada, along with teammate Greg Anthony.
Dave, congratulations on a good job on the court and off the court as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take a break here at halftime and come back with highlights and stats right after this.
Eight years ago, Arco made the changes you wanted. Quality gasoline at low prices, 24-hour service, convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, and products that offer the best value for your money. 8 years later, we haven't changed. Southern Nevadans still benefit from Arco's long-standing policy of customer satisfaction. Arco, making life easier for Southern Nevada.
I will go with you.
Over time, European cars have evolved into fine luxury automobiles. The Lexus LS400, however, achieved car and driver's highest customer satisfaction ratings ever in value, workmanship, and overall satisfaction in just its first year. So much for the theory of evolution. Test drive the LS400 at Fletcher Jones Lexus.
Gary Martin, President, Nevada Copy Systems.
At Nevada Copy Systems, we help you process paper from start to finish. First, generate the document with our prototype display typewriter. Next, duplicate the documents with our Sharp copiers. Then, send the documents with our Sharp fax machine. Finally, shred the documents with our paper shredders, start to finish.
From start to finish. Call Nevada Copy Systems, the authority in office technology.
More than a copier company.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Wilden. At Wilden's Pride Dodge, we're slashing prices during our 3rd anniversary sale. Select this 1991 Shadow America, the lowest priced American car, for just $74.98. The sporty 91 Spirit for only $96.50, or truly one of America's most luxurious cars, the 91 Dodge Dynasty, for $11,788. All are equipped with driver's airbags. Come see us at Wilden's Pride Dodge. You'll be glad you did.
That's Pride Dodge. That's Pride Dodge.
Del Shannon said another runaway. The running Rebels running away from Long Beach State in the first half to the tune of 53-25. And welcome back once again to the Thomas and Mack Center. I'm Joel Myers alongside Mario Palladini. It looked like it was going to be a close affair over the first 10 minutes of the game, but then there were 2 spans, Mario. One that went 6 minutes and 26 seconds, another 5 minutes and 8 seconds. That was over the last 12 minutes of the first half, where Long Beach State went without a field goal.
Yeah, they were into the problems of the defense. They could not come down court, set up in their offense without being affected by the defense. They turned it over, and it was when UNLV went to their matchup zone that Long Beach just seemed to fall apart, and as a result, they just were demoralized from that point on.
For some reason, they did not get the ball in the hands of Lucius Harris, the second leading scorer in the Big West Conference, who comes into the game averaging 22 a night. He was not a factor not only over the first 10 minutes, but then his coach had him on the bench for the final 6 to 7 minutes of the first half.
You got to wonder about that as to why Seth Greenwood would pull his player out who has the ability to score, and yet he's sitting down on the bench. We have no idea at this point. He certainly wasn't in foul trouble. So whether he realized that he was doing some things defensively that he was upset with could be the reason. And yet, I mean, you got to wonder at this point, if I'm going to go against UNLV, I want my best gun there at all possible times, particularly when they don't have an outside threat other than Lucius Harris.
Over the first 6 to 7 minutes, though, as we look back on some of the first half highlights, there was good ball movement by Long Beach State. They were moving the ball well on the perimeter.
They were able to penetrate, and if it wasn't there, they would pull it back outside and then kick it around. Look for an opportunity to maybe get a drive. There's the gap in the center, and Troy Joseph recognized it, filling it inside, took a nice shot, and put it in. That was the early recognition of the defense that helped Long Beach State. On the other end, though, things began to change when UNLV started to go more to the matchup itself. Long Beach trying to penetrate inside and not recognizing the defensive change that time by UNLV. Anthony came away with it, running the break as only he can run. And Hunt, his teammates in the backcourt, finishes the play off. And for Long Beach, as hard as they worked defensively on Larry Johnson, Larry going up strong, splitting against the defenders. Two players there, blocking the shot. But on the Johnny on the spot there was Gray. Able to pick up the loose ball and lay it in. All that effort down the drain.
And we take a look now at the first half numbers. Only 35% from the floor, 45% for UNLV. Free throws, 11 more free throws for UNLV, which tells you they're getting the ball inside. They're creating the opportunities to get the ball inside because they are picking up those fouls. And at the free throw line, two teams that have had their problem there all year long. Rebounding edge also to UNLV. And you know what this reminds me of, Mario? The second 10 minutes of the first half of this game reminds me of the first 10 minutes of the Cal State Fullerton game. Where Cal State Fullerton almost looked like they were on roller skates because of the defensive pressure from UNLV. And it looked very similar because they couldn't do anything, Long Beach State, really over the second 10 minutes because of the defensive pressure. You see the halftime leaders individual scoring. Harris, only 7 points, averaging 22 a game. Greg Anthony, well, they wanted him to take the outside shot, and he certainly did.
Those were the two players that Long Beach was keen on, Anthony and Augman, forced them to shoot it from the outside. They've responded with the points.
So we start the second half at the Thomas and Mack Center. Rebels with the ball and a 28-point lead. There's their best three-point shooter, Anderson. He was on the line. Give him 2 for that try.
What a way to start off the second half with Hunt. He was a little cool early in the game. Starts it off with a 3.
They're down by 30. Harris makes it 28.
Great shot by Lucius Harris. That's what they needed a little more of early.
Ackles got away. A foul on Brian Russell. Cutler blocked it from behind. Great look inside, though, immediately in the transition game. And that is the 4th foul now, I believe, on Brian Russell. Yes. It's got to be a concern because he's a starter for Seth Greenberg.
Good example that time where Long Beach did not get back on the defensive transition, and Anthony will pick you apart when he sees you not in position. He spreads the floor exceptionally well when he runs the break. He knows where his players are when they fill the lanes, and he finds the players. That time, finding the trailer. Ackles driving in uncontested inside.
Ackles missed all of last year with a broken bone in his right wrist. That pays dividends, as it turns out, for Jerry Tarkanian, who would have been the senior season for George Ackles. Instead, Butler, the starting center, completed his 2 years here at UNLV, and then had Ackles to come in the next season.
And Ackles has really done a great job for this club. He's played better and better as the weeks have gone on. Here they come again.
Another steal by Larry Johnson. Anderson Hunt capitalizes.
That's a tough drive for Hunt. He had a big man Henderson on him, and yet he felt Henderson with his hip and went to the other side and flipped it up off the board. Man-to-man for UNLV now.
And Adam Henderson doesn't get the roll. Hard off the heel.
Got that awfully quick.
Anderson Hunt, backcourt mate, Greg Anthony. Ackles, almost with a beauty. The way it's developing so far this season, and it'd be nice, of course, to see Seth Greenberg's Long Beach State 49ers put together a bit of a run here in the second half, but from what we've seen, obviously they have not played New Mexico State yet. UNLV against the Big West is looking like the Globetrotters against the Washington Generals.
Well, they clearly have been the class of this conference for a long time, and you mentioned New Mexico State. New Mexico State can present some problems with them because they have similar type long-arm players, and they play a tough matchup zone, so they do present some problems. The thing about New Mexico State is, Joel, they have really struggled in their field goal percentage. They're last in the conference right now in conference games in field goal percentage. They've got to get some better scoring out of their guards in particular.
Only 2 points so far over the first 2 minutes of the second half. Ackles charging. Rolling right over Lucius Harris.
Greg Anthony is so athletic and can come back on a particular play. Was beaten defensively, came back, makes the block, and then has the presence of mind of knowing where Larry Johnson was on the floor, in the air, kicking it back to Johnson, and they start a break. Classic example of a consummate team player and point guard. That's Greg Anthony, that man right there.
Third foul. That that charge on George Ackles, his third. They're trying to get Frankie Edwards free inside. Mismatch in the wrong direction, though. Ackles has a couple of inches on him. Joseph would fall away. Cutler, fouled by Johnson. That'll be the third on Larry Johnson. And also the third team foul on UNLV.
You've got to give Long Beach credit right now, though. They're going back and doing what they can do best, and that's trying to run their offense, trying to run that 1-4 set, get all the players involved. You may as well take advantage of the opportunity you have here. You're playing against the nation's best team. Try to run your offense. You're going to be facing tough teams the rest of the way. Get the offense settled down. It is a newer offense that they've been incorporating here the last few games.
Cutler shooting two, the senior. Benicia High School in Pomona, California.
I liked his comment after he slammed and broke that rim at Fullerton the other night. He said he was going to save a punk of glass for his mother because he was so proud of having broken that rim. He said that in warm-ups, they always try to slam and see how hard they can make that rim shake. They never thought they'd be able to break it, though. In fact, that's the second rim Long Beach has broken. Last year at San Jose, they tore a rim down there when Mike Masucci slammed in the warm-ups. The difference was at San Jose, they had a backup rim, and they didn't have one at Fullerton Thursday.
Here we go. I love the touch pass by Larry Johnson to Ackles, who's coming in and flashing through the paint. Great communication.
I mean, they're so good, it looks like they're just practicing all their plays. And the touch pass you mentioned, look at that. Again, though, the key, Joel, is that he understands that everybody, not just Johnson, understands where every player is on the floor at a given time.
Now, you were just talking about the broken rim with Kevin Cutler on the slam dunk at Cal State Fullerton. That now has created a very busy week for the 49ers of Long Beach State. They get out of here tomorrow, and then Tuesday they are back at Cal State Fullerton. It's a 10-8 game, and they will resume that game 3 minutes into the contest on the Titans home floor in their gym.
Seth Greenberg said the key thing about that 10-8 lead was that Joe Small, the great scorer from Fullerton, already has one foul. So he's worried about trying to get Joe Small out of the ball game as best he can.
Ackles after the miss. Starts it all over. Ogden couldn't control it, but like everything else, it's going into the basket for UNLV. He never really had control of the ball.
Oh, my.
The lead is up to 42 and counting.
And with this active defense that UNLV is employing, they're forcing Long Beach way out high. See how far they're bringing them out into the defense? That's much farther out than Long Beach likes to be able to set up their offense.
Foul on Greg Anthony. And for Anthony, that's his second. Common foul brought into the sideline by Long Beach State. 49ers came into the game with a 5-8 record. They could have a much better record in Big West Conference play, though, because of missed free throws. And that's why I bring it up. They've had problems at the free throw line this year. They lose at Fresno State 77-73, hit less than 50% of their free throws there. They got a couple of big free throws to beat UC Irvine 66-63. Brian Russell shows a nice fingertip roll. And then in another very close game at Pacific, they lose by 2, 67-65. Again, hit less than 50% of the free throws in the Big West Conference matchup.
Yeah, in that game at Pacific, they had a lead down the stretch. 3-point lead. 40 seconds left, couldn't hold it, and lost it at the free throw line. I asked Seth Greenberg, I said, what is it, Seth? I mean, what is it about the team? Is it a lack of concentration? He shook his head. He said, I don't understand it. I can't understand why we can't be mentally tough on the free throw line.
And I think I said 44 earlier. It is a 34-point lead, not 44 for the Runnin' Rebels. Right now, it doesn't make much of a difference, though. They're winning by an average of 31 points a game over the first 12 games of the season. 4 minutes into the second half.
What a matchup with Anthony and Harris. Look at Harris' ability to dribble and move the ball around.
And he is not a lead guard, let's remind our viewers. He's an off guard. With the rejection of Troy Joseph's try.
A good example. There are two players doing what they do best. Harris with his dribbling ability, and this man, Troy Joseph, with a great driving ability. But the great shot blocker, George Ackles, clears it out.
Be right back to the home floor of the Runnin' Rebels as they lead it by 34.
There's no...
The tradition of dining at Binion's Horseshoe. Great service, great food, great prices. Like our $2 steak and our $2 breakfast, the best in Las Vegas. Or Italian cuisine with pizzazz at Benito's. And Binion's famous steaks, of course. Then for that special evening, elegant cuisine and a spectacular view, the Sky Room, the special dining tradition of Binion's Horseshoe, where value, service, and good taste are served with every meal.
Taco Bell is 3 times better. With 3 new menus are 3 times better. I tell you why. 3 low prices and everything I like it just $59.79.99. Taco Supreme, not just Supreme. $59.79.99. Run for the bullet of the winter sister. $59.79.99. Taco Bell is 3 times better. $59.79.99.
Welcome back once again to the Shark Tank. Sark has his team on top by 34 in his 18th season, sitting on that bench for the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. Over the last 10-plus seasons, they have been the winningest team in college basketball.
He's done a remarkable job, and we've said it before. I think he's the least publicized defensive coach in the country. The thing about him also, he's been able to keep this team focused all the way through, despite all the controversy, despite the questions that have gone on over the years. They're focused, they're intense, great team chemistry, and he's the reason why.
Good balance, not only on the floor, but in his coaching staff as well. Joseph. Finally, they're rotating. That's what they did so well over the first 5 minutes. They reversed it.
And that's what they did so poorly in the last 10 minutes, was turn it over.
Not even that break from the official could save them that time.
They're going to have to regroup. Long Beach will regroup. This is a game that they knew was going to be difficult. For anybody coming in here, it's going to be difficult. I don't care if you're in the Big West Conference or you're a team out of the East. You come in and play the nationally ranked #1 team in the country, the defending national champions on their home floor, you're going to have some problems.
2 games in February against the Mexico State squad. Neil McCarthy said, get it inside to Johnson.
Look at him.
Johnson off balance because the man at his feet, Frankie Edwards.
He is relentless.
Wide open. Ryan Russell can't hit it. They get a break. Troy Joseph for 3. This is not a group of pure shooters, to say the least. They only hit 40% of the season. A layup, Anderson Hunt, but Osman gets it. In your humble opinion, Mr. Palladini. Let's look ahead now to New Mexico State. Down at New Mexico State, that's where the first one is. What do you think?
Actually, the first one is here.
Oh, at Thomason?
Yeah. The second one we'll have here,
right
on Sports Channel. The second one's down in Las Cruces. That could be a tough game. It is late in the season, so we'll have to see where New Mexico State stands. Now, New Mexico State beat UNLV last season at Las Cruces early in the year. So they have the ability, no doubt, to pull a victory down there. And Seth Greenberg's finally going to call a timeout here.
It is, well, it was ugly early. Getting worse if you're a fan of the 49ers of Long Beach State. We'll be right back to UNLV's Thomas and Mack Center.
Put your body in action with hot sports fashion.
Las Vegas Sports Center has the lowest prices in town. Fitness fashion with a street attitude for less. Get the look that gets the looks. Only at Las Vegas Sports Center.
Hot sports fashion.
Superior Tire and Auto Service Centers want you to be satisfied with your auto repair. That's why we have Goodyear-trained, ASE-certified technicians working on your car with state-of-the-art equipment and technology. This week, you can get a lube, oil, and filter for just $12.88. This includes up to 5 quarts of race-proven Quaker State oil. Visit one of the 9 Superior Tire and Auto Service Centers. Your locally owned Goodyear dealer for 47 years.
Welcome back once again to the Thomas and Mack Center. Just turned around and Ross Porter, the radio voice for the Runnin' Rebels, was trying to get my attention. He said, Joel, they're not even playing that well tonight. I said, Ross, that's the scary part about it.
And I'll tell you, here's an example of how they do play. Watch Greg Anthony, your guard, your point guard, turns, baseball passes it the length of the floor and catches Hunt on the run. Doesn't even have to put it on the floor. I mean, he knows where everybody is on the floor at a given time. A tremendously gifted point guard.
They look inside. Ogman's there to almost take it away.
This is the beauty of UNLV. They play hard the whole game on the defensive side. Look at that, swatted away.
Reverse. Not close.
And early on the break, they just come at you in waves. They do it to you on the defensive side for the full 40, and they do it to you on the offensive side as well.
Oh, Johnson works on Edwards. One match inside. It's now a 40-point lead for UNLV.
And you know, Joel, it's a clinic right now. It's just a clinic as to what's happening out here on the floor and how to run your offense. Look at that one. What a shocker right there right now.
Yeah, we saw what happened to New Mexico State when they were at Pacific, and they were down late.
Yeah, it's true.
And then outscored them, what was it, 16-2 over a 4-minute span? Yeah, Pacific winning on the road at San Jose State, doing a great job defensively there against Dan Morrison's squad.
One thing about New Mexico State, we were just talking about it with the matchup with UNLV, is, as I mentioned earlier, they have been struggling on the offensive side. They've been a lot of JC players right now. There's Utah State blowing out Fresno, but they've been struggling getting the young players involved in their offense. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get that settled down.
And late, Santa Barbara by 5 over UC Irvine. That's going to be revenge for Santa Barbara. Irvine, one of their 5 victories last year, came at Santa Barbara.
Yeah, and that's
a turnover, a rare one, as they call it, a walk. Maybe that's the only way to slow them down. Blow the whistle occasionally. 13 minutes, 19 seconds left in the second half. A very, very talented basketball team. Finally, Lucius Harris gets a three-pointer. We talked about Steve Bishop, the Orange County Register, just a few days ago, had a great conversation with John Woodman. Column about the best college basketball team in history. Larry Johnson going to the line trying for another three-point play. And back to that column by Steve Bishop at the Orange County Register and talking with John Wooden. John Wooden felt that his teams with Lou Alcindor, also the team with Bill Walton, Jamal Wilkes, and then his team with Patterson and Wicks and Rowe. He thought all three would have been very competitive, to say the least, against the running Rebels of UNLV. I don't feel that this is the best team in college basketball history. And I only say that because of the backcourt. There's only 2 basically for this team. Once you get beyond Anthony and Hunt, they are not a very deep group at that position.
Now that's one of the only missing links is in there. But you know, it goes beyond just the UCLA great teams. I mean, you look at the Indiana team.
Right, the undefeated team was Scotty May.
With Scotty May and Quinn Buckner. That was a great basketball team that Bobby Knight had. And then you look at the North Carolina team too, with Worthy and Michael Jordan. And Perkins. I mean, that was a great team as well. But if this UNLV team, Long Beach finally gets a hoop on the break there. If this UNLV team can win the national championship again this season, then it's going to be awfully difficult to say that they may not have been the best team of all. You know what it does? It creates great talk for basketball fans around the country. That's the beauty.
Especially during blowouts. 12 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second half. Lucius Harris losing it momentarily.
And even in a blowout situation, Joe, you look at this. UNLV still battling, still aggressive on the defense, and still running the break. Oh!
It's a charge. And Austin may be hurt.
He fell hard in his head. Any questions about the intensity in a blowout basketball game was answered right there.
He gets up quickly, but I believe he's still shaken up.
I mean, he is going hard here. Starts it right there, goes up strong over Lucius Harris and just falls head first. Luckily, a little better angle here perhaps to really see how high he got and how he went head first. Luckily, being able to break this ball with his arms and his body, that hurts.
It's almost like this team feels they're invincible, the way they play the game. Like they can do almost anything they like.
That's the mark of a great, confident basketball team.
Edwards can't collect the long pass. And on the baseline, Musucci is out of bounds. It'll go to UNLV. The fans making the call in the stands for Bob Sitoff, one of the 3 officials working tonight's game.
Watch this in full speed, how hard he's going in. Ooh, and you can hear it when he hit.
A dunk at the other end for Larry Johnson, and he's fouled. And because we missed it, let's take another look at that dunk.
Well, that dunk brought a little smile to Jerry Tarkanian's face. Wide open. No defensive look that time by Long Beach. And he's just hanging and hoping there.
But why is Ronnie Winbush jumping in on that play and giving him a shot at the free throw line?
Yeah, that's just frustration, Joel.
16 points now for Larry Johnson. 7 below his season average of 23. He's also got 11 rebounds. Piece of cake. Movement. A lane violation. He gets the free throw.
That's a characteristic of that free throw. There's a little hesitation in there. And he does get people falling into the lane as a result of that.
Russell. Towers finds Lucius Harris for 3.
I don't blame him. Why go inside against that group when you got a great shooter in Harris on the baseline?
Anthony.
I got in a charge.
Right, the blocking foul.
If there is one thing, and I'm stretching it here, if there's one thing you can critique Greg Anthony about, is that occasionally when he penetrates inside, he has a tendency to turn his back when he's in the air and attempt to kick it back out to his wing players. He often gets caught in the air and often draws the charge in there.
Takeaway by Tower on the inbound play. Lucius Harris trying to make it respectable. It's still 35. Eventually, though, Larry Johnson's there.
I mean, they can just answer so quickly. You go down to near end and score on a dunk, they come back just as quickly and do the same thing to you. You know, you look at this Long Beach State bunch, and of course they've been struggling without a solid point guard. Good example there, going to throw it away.
They don't have the individual role players they need.
No, they really don't. And if you look at who they have already recruited, and Seth Greenberg was known as an outstanding recruiter everywhere he was. I mean, when he was at Miami, he was instrumental in recruiting Tito Horford, starting to build that program for Bill Foster. But he's got a great point guard in the works right now. Jeff Rogers, who they say is a real tough, hard-nosed point guard, comes out of Dominguez High School here in Los Angeles. And they're looking for him. He's a redshirt this year to help out next season.
Blocked by Spencer. Tower is there, though. They've got some players, the big players. Again, it's behind the defense. It's getting to be old news, isn't it? But they've got some big players that look pretty good, like Adam Henderson. And Chris Tower should develop like that. So if they get that compliment for Harris in the backcourt, as Hunt saves it. They shouldn't be that far away. Johnson, does anybody want him? Okay. Tower picking up the blocking foul. It's comical when you're up by 40.
And Larry Johnson's laughing and just enjoying this. They're just having a good time, and the crowd responds to it.
A standing O at the Thomas & Mack Center for the nation's #1 team. Truly disappointing for Seth Greenberg, but he's not alone. He can talk to the rest of the coaches in the Big West Conference that have faced Jerry Tarkanian and his group headed by Larry Johnson. Curtain call? No, he's got to take the free throw. I thought it was the New York Mets dugout for a second. 9.5 minutes left in the second half.
And you know that 9.5 minutes left, he's been averaging roughly 29 to 30 points a game. And here it is. Once again, he'll be taking a seat when they hit the 30 mark.
Only a minute left in New Mexico State. Down by a dozen. I don't think they can find 4 3-pointers.
And Joel, that is and if they hold on, that will be a huge win for Cal State Fullerton. We seem to be struggling a little bit, having been beaten the last 2 times out. That's a big win, beating New Mexico State, 21st ranked in the country.
Must have been a big night for Joe Small.
Yeah.
The second leading scorer. Tied second in the conference with Lucius Harris.
Okay, Larry, you can take a seat now. Another night at the office for Larry Johnson.
And now another standing O for Larry Johnson. Are you sure it's not Shea Stadium?
I want to ask you something, Joel. You've seen a lot of players over the years and all the college games you've been able to call. But for this season, do you think he, in fact, is the best player in college basketball?
Yes, without a doubt. And I say that not because of his individual effort, but the way he complements his teammates. And Stacey Augmon, I think, is the same type of player, not quite as much an impact player at both ends of the floor as Larry Johnson. As you see Stacey Augmon icing up his hand as he hit the floor and slightly injured that hand in the charge that he took a couple of minutes ago. Actually committed the charge a couple of minutes ago. But Larry Johnson brings everybody else, it seems, to another level by his play, his intensity. And we talked about it at the top of the telecast. You cannot tell what the score is by watching Larry Johnson play because he's always plays at the same level, whether up by 2 or up by 42.
I think the great story about him was last season when he came into the league. Of course, he was the most highly touted JC player ever to play, even more than Spencer Haywood. When he didn't let anybody down. He came in and delivered the goods. And the other thing was, the first time he came in with the ball club and people from TV and radio interviewed him, he kept saying, all I want to do is contribute. And the rest of his teammates couldn't believe they were hearing this out of him, whether he was sincere or not. But he kept saying it for every game. And before long, the entire team began to act and speak that way. They became a team. In fact, Dave Bliss, coach at New Mexico, said, and he was the former coach at SMU when Johnson originally had gone to SMU. He said, Larry Johnson will win you more basketball games off the floor.
I'm sorry, but I enjoyed it. H. Waldman makes the great play in the backcourt to spin away, and Ackles has the sense and the vision to find his teammate.
Unreal.
I mean, the easiest part of the play is the slam dunk.
Yeah. And there's Waldman, the point guard of the future, the only freshman on this ball club. He plays with a lot of confidence for a young. Look at that spin move around Sears, cross-court kick, and then Ackles, as you said, Joel, really knew how to just kick it back over to Spencer.
The loneliest guy in UNLV's bench, locker room, on the roster, H. Waldman. Shortest first name, only freshman. 89-46. Not Spencer, over and back, no, it's picked up by Joseph.
And look at Hunt steal it back. Came right back out of bounds and stole the ball. What a defensive play.
Winbush looking like a triple jumper on that last play.
To finish that point from earlier, Blitz said he will win you more games off the floor than on the floor. Well, he did that last year. This year he's winning you more games on the floor.
Mr. Love, Melvin Love,
and you call him
into the game.
Mr.
You got it. I know, partner. And a wide body for Jerry Tarkanian.
Yeah, he is a wide body.
Everett Gray forcing it, getting it back though. And he is fouled. They'll call it on Frankie Edwards, I believe. So Everett Gray, out of the junior college transfer from Riverside Community College. And there's your halftime guest coming in, David Rice, who had a three-pointer the other night at UC Irvine, taking over as Anderson Hunt is through for the night.
You know, Anderson Hunt has shown no signs of that tendonitis problem he had several weeks ago when he was forced to sit out the Utah State game. He's shooting the ball very well. He runs the floor exceptionally well, so he seems to have been able to get over that problem. And you mentioned Gray, another JC player. It's interesting to see how many college coaches are going more and more to the JC ranks.
Just another day at the office for Tark, his group of Sharks, as the Rebels are running away.
I got running rebel fever burning up my mind. I got running rebel fever and it feels so a doctor or stay in bed all day. The only thing I need is just to watch those rebels play. I got running rebel fever burning up my mind.
A reputation you could ride on big old tires.
Big O gives you one of the toughest tire warranties around. You get a flat, we fix it. And if we can't fix it, you get a new tire. It's that simple. We'll rotate your tires every 5,000 miles, and when they need to be rebalanced, we'll do it. And it's free for the life of your Big O tires. That's Big O.
A reputation you could ride.
5 Las Vegas locations to serve you.
You are never safe once you enter the shark tank.
Look at that one. You think she wants out of there or what? What a little cutie.
Well, it's easy to have fun when you're up by 600 points. Don't forget Utah State and Long Beach State right here on Sports Channel. That'll be Thursday night in our next Big West matchup at the home floor of the 49ers.
That's going to be a much different ball game because, you know, Long Beach, despite the loss here tonight, still has a chance with the way the conference is in the middle section to be a third-place ball club. Look at Santa Barbara, Pacific, Utah State, Fresno. They've got a chance to be right in there and possibly a third-place team.
David Rice now working in the backcourt with H. Waldman. Elmore Spencer. He does not see that many minutes. Usually a short spurt in the first half and similar situation in the second half. But he's averaging close to 10 points a game in limited duty, limited minutes.
Look at the 5 that are out here for UNLV right now. This is a young bunch outside of Rice. He'll be a graduating senior. The rest of the players, Waldman's a freshman right there. You got Gray, 23. He's a junior. He'll be a key man next season on the offensive end of things. Love right there, number 40. Big body. They'll need him ready to play next year.
Well, there's their point guard of the future. At least they hope so. Yep. He's a true, pure point guard.
And he's one of the ones that Jerry Tarking's been able to keep here in the last few years. You know, there were the 3. Along with Waldman, there was Matt Oppik.
Well, they thought they had Oppik.
They thought they had Oppik.
He orally committed. He made that verbal commitment to UNLV in the day before signing. Went to Arizona.
And then, of course, Greg Anthony, who people may not realize, originally went to the University of Portland. In fact, he was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year up at Portland. And then decided to come back to UNLV and take over the point guard spot. Now, Joel, amazing. The teams that UNLV has had, when they have succeeded in the NCAA tournament and have won the championship, they have always had their best point guard. When Mark Wade was here, when Danny Tarkanian was here, the all-time assist leader, and of course last season with Greg Anthony. And it comes down to that. You've got to have great players inside, but you must have a solid, proven point guard if you're going to win consistently, and particularly if you're an up-tempo type basketball team.
There's the leader, the point guard, Greg Anthony. And when I say the leader, the point guard has to be. He controls the ball, he holds on to the ball, a good percentage of the time on the floor.
The other thing about a point guard is he has to be a good decision maker on the floor. He has to be able to get the ball into the hands of his teammates at the right spot so that they can shoot it effortlessly.
Harris on the miss. And a foul committed by David Rice.
You know, you think of the great point guards in the NBA, and you think of how they play. They all get the ball to their teammates in the right position. You look at Magic, you look at Kevin Johnson, and you look at John Stockton. I mean, he really gets Malone the ball at the right spot on the break every time.
Ronnie Winbush, junior, Los Angeles.
That little patch on the arm there above the American flag was in memory of George Allen, who was passed away several weeks ago.
Waldman with the rebound, and he always looks for the break. But it's poked away from behind by the man who missed the free throw, Ronnie Winbush. Heads up play. Is it off the foot of Gray? Yes. And Harris and the 49ers keep it with 6:24 left. So things never developed the way Seth Greenberg wanted it tonight. Trailing by 43. He wanted to keep Harris out top, go with a 1-4 set. Offensively, it worked for about 6-7 minutes. That was it. Spencer, the trailer. Unselfish play by Waldman.
Ran that break very well that time, but then Spencer comes way out defensively to make the block and then fills the lane like a guard running it on the break.
Boy, that's the way it's been going all night. When they do get the easy shot inside, they miss it. Lucius Harris that time. Poked away by Winford. Saved by Gray. And Gray is sleeping on the baseline, and nobody picks him up.
I really am impressed with the play of Everett Gray throughout the games we've had so far this season. He's getting better and better. Plays with so much confidence out there.
Foul by Gray. Nice look down to the baseline. And then the trailer on this play.
He could have gone both ways, behind the back or this way, the easy way to Spencer. And then looking inside, as UNLV always does, finds him right along the baseline inside. Could have gone to Love, but knew Gray was free. A little more athletic underneath the bucket. Tough kid, I'll tell you. He's a confident young man for only being a freshman. Can you imagine as a freshman in high school coming and playing in the national championship team and seeing as much action as he's seen?
Yeah, but usually, let's face it, when he comes in, they're up by 30, 35. There's not a lot of pressure on the young man when he comes into the game.
That's true.
It is rare when he comes in when it's close.
It might be a different story if there's foul trouble in the Arkansas game down in Arkansas.
Yes. Well, that's going to be the test. When one of the two guards gets into foul trouble. Love rejected. Adam Henderson lost it, though. And that will be an interesting test if Anthony gets into trouble. Because H. Waldman is the backup point guard. Then does Jerry Tarkanian say, I'm going to mix things up so I don't have to put pressure on Waldman. Do I bring in Travis Bice, move Hunt over to the lead guard, and bring in Bice as the off guard? He's got more experience, of course.
They have done that. Great shot by David Wright. There's a three-point man. Or halftime desk. He likes that three from down there on the right side.
Another one who comes in when it's close. A 49-point lead for UNLV. Harris is toweled and almost scalped by Everett Gray.
Yeah, but give Lucius Harris credit that time. He's still in his basketball game. He challenges the UNLV team driving inside. He could have settled for the outside jumper, but took it hard inside.
We may not need traffic reports when we leave the arena. They could all be gone by then.
Well, they're leaving early tonight. They don't usually leave early because it's so entertaining to watch this team play. It's just one spectacular play after another from everybody, the starters and the players off the bench as well.
And the home fans never complain about blowouts either. As Spencer is through for the evening. Bobby Joyce coming in. Harris with 21 now.
You know, I see Seth Greenberg sitting over there kind of taking this one in and is hoping to get it over with. You think about the situation he's been able to, he wanted a head coaching job so badly last year. He told me last year, he said, Mario, if I don't get a head coaching job sooner or later, I'm going to lose all my hair.
Another block for Adam Henderson.
I mean,
he's going to lose what?
He said he was going to lose all of that hair. And he lost a little bit of it prior to making that statement. But he really was hoping for a head coaching job. And when Joe Harrington had the opportunity in Colorado, it was the natural for Corey Johnson, the athletic director at Long Beach, to give Seth the opportunity.
I said to Seth before the game, I said, he's a little gray on the side. And I said, is that what this 5-8 record's done to you already in your first year as head coach? You're only 34, a little sprinkling of gray on the side. He goes, I'll take any gray I can get.
He's not worried about the gray. As he said, it's the chrome dome in the winter, and it's the golden dome in the summer.
Melvin Love backing his way in. Barely got it over Henderson. I like what I see from Adam Henderson defensively. He is going to be a sound player for this team.
Yeah, he's a real key to the future of this team. He's a big man. He's really come along. His best game was against New Mexico State earlier this year. Because of that game, he's really a starting star. They're going to go with him here for a good part of the rest of the year.
Waldman. The fingertips of David Rice. Waldman fits in very nicely. He's always looking for the transition game. We'll be right back at the Thomas & Mack Center for the final 3 minutes and 58 seconds.
John Riggins was
Thinking about a new car or truck but don't think you can afford it? At Gordon Ford and Import Center, we slash prices so everybody can afford to drive a new Ford in 91. We have special dealer incentives, rebates up to $1,500 and interest rates as low as 7.9%. The 91 Ford Festiva L Plus, loaded not stripped for only $59.97, and the 91 Ford Explorer will have you exploring new heights in a style and color that's right for you for as low as $14,997. You can afford to buy new at Gordon Ford and Import Center, 2121 East Sahara.
If you like the old Iron Horse, voted #1 by locals for the best breakfast specials as well as exceptional values for lunch and dinner, then you're going to love the all-new Iron Horse Cafe. Same great specials, a totally new restaurant, and an expanded menu that goes all the way to China. Featuring authentic Chinese cuisine served from lunch to late night. The 24-hour Iron Horse Cafe.
The Palace Station. Play the favorite.
UNLV will be able to defend that title this year, but the same cannot be said for next season, when they will be on probation by the NC2A. And now they have to answer new allegations in the recruitment of Lloyd Daniels, a young man that never even played at UNLV. So seems like it never ends for Jerry Tarkanian.
And you often wonder how that affects Jerry Tarkanian. It doesn't seem to affect him at all on the basketball floor, though. And that's the key thing about it. He keeps his team focused and seems to keep himself focused as well.
And Melvin Love with the rebound. Bobby Joyce walking with the ball.
You know, you look at that championship banner up there and you think of all the great years that Tarkanian's had, and it took that long to get an NCAA championship, and now he has the opportunity of maybe having 2 in a row. There's a lot of games between now and the March tournament.
And over and back as Bobby Joyce wasn't aware of H. Waldman still behind the timeline.
I think you got to worry about as well. I mean, if UNLV and Jerry Tarkanian's a warrior anyway. But they really could not afford to have a key injury, and they've been lucky about that. Last season they had a couple of injuries, yet they were able to override them. But I mean, a key injury to a guy like Johnson or Ogman would have a big impact when you get into the NCAA tournament play against the better teams in the country.
Long Beach State been able to hit only 33% of their shots. 40% of the season as H. Waldman takes it away. They've got to have it with 15 steals tonight, minimum of 15 steals. UNLV, on the other hand, as Waldman is fouled on his way to the basket, getting 55%. The foul on Russell, he is gone. As Brian Russell, the sophomore from San Bernardino, has fouled out.
It's a good effort by Russell, though. You know, he's only played a few games. He sat out all of last season, and it takes players a lot of time to kick it in the gear after they've sat out a year. But he's really been responding well since the early part of the season, and they're very, very high on him. I really like H. Waldman. I think he's really, as you mentioned, Bill, he's going to be a fine point guard here. He just has that savvy, that good court savvy, and a mental toughness that I like. Something you don't usually see out of a young freshman player.
Another break for UNLV is it's off the hands of Henderson. UNLV with 20 more rebounds than Long Beach State.
I mean, they've been out rebounding their opponents by an average of 12 a game. So tonight, status quo on the boards. And this is a pretty good size Long Beach State team, as you mentioned earlier in the game, Joe. They got a lot of players that are 6'8" and over. Good size, yet just again, inside positioning. They know how to get the inside position and control the board.
Everett Gray.
Nice stroke from three-point land for Gray. He's doing it all inside and outside.
Leaded by 48. 20 turnovers committed by Long Beach State. Gray flat on that attempt.
He shot a little too quick. That wasn't really squared up like he wanted to be on the previous shot.
They just want to get this one over.
You know, you mentioned Long Beach having had that game suspended and having to play Cal State Fullerton, who appears to perhaps be an upset winner over New Mexico State tonight. They play them on Tuesday night. Then they have the Thursday game here in Sports Center against a tough Utah State bunch. Then they've got San Jose State on Saturday. So they've got quite a few games in a row.
They're getting a Mersey, and that's why you hear the noise in the background, but they need a whistle to get him into the game. And now his teammates grab him. They won't let him get to the scorer's table. Anderson again on the slam.
This is part of the reason the fans hang around on a blow like this, is to see if Brian Emerzian will get in the basketball game. He hasn't made a shot yet this year, Joe. He's taken 4 of them, but he hasn't hit one yet. He's bound to hit one sooner or later.
Melvin Love surrounded. Wow. So Emerzian will come into the game to the delight of the fans remaining here at the Thomas and Mack Center.
The people's choice.
He enters the game with 59 seconds left.
You think he'll put one down tonight?
He doesn't look for the shot all that often.
That's the problem.
Especially considering he never sees more than a minute a game.
He's just like everybody else in his UNLV team, though. He's unselfish. Look at that.
So a big upset in the Big West tonight.
89 points against a tough matchup zone of New Mexico State. You can be almost guaranteed that Joe Small had a big game tonight with that 89 points that Cal State Fullerton put up there.
Melvin Love showing a better touch from the free throw line. Love now with a total of 7. Rice looking for the loose ball. Bobby Joyce will pick it up. The tap by Love. He'll go again. And he'll go to the line again.
Exchanging pleasantries in there.
Chris Tower on the foul.
Chris Tower's not a bad young ball player. He could help this Long Beach State team.
The sophomore from Huntington Beach, California.
You know, he really just needs to bulk himself up a little bit. Good size and a good shooting touch. Hey, he banked that one in.
Melvin, by design. Now, we've seen Melvin with an air ball in Fresno, and now that soft touch using the glass here.
Oh, I was hoping he'd go for the second bank on that one.
Waldman almost comes up with the steal.
Yeah, he fell into the expensive seats over here as well.
36 seconds left. A 49-point lead for UNLV.
Oh, Emerzian almost had the steal. Nice move by Tower.
Joyce with the rebound. They've got the break if they want it.
Emerzian's open on the right baseline. He's open in the corner, left side. Oh, Bobby Joyce wanted that hoop.
And now it's a 51-point lead. The block. Another try for Rice at the buzzer.
Oh!
It's been that kind of night and that kind of season for the Runnin' Rebels, where just about everything has gone in. So a difficult one for Seth Greenberg, to say the least. But he knows it'll be a completely different story once he gets a true point guard to complement Lucius Harris in his backcourt. We'll be right back to wrap things up from UNLV.
Taco Bell is 3 times better. With 3 new menus, it's 3 times better. I tell you why. 3 low prices, now everything I like is just $59.99. Taco Supreme, not just Supreme. $59.79.99. Run for the bullet of the winter sister. $59.79.99. Taco Bell is 3 times better. $59.79.99.
How much do you think your car is worth on a trade-in? At Falcone's Tropicana Honda, it's worth more than you think. Trade it in on a new Honda right now, and Falcone's will guarantee $8,500 on 1987 models, $7,500 on 86s, $6,500 on 85s, $5,500 on 84s, and $3,500 on 83s or older. Whether you push, pull, or drag it in, guaranteed. Only at the lowest priced Honda dealer in America, Falcone's Tropicana Honda.
Hey, you. How come you're watching ordinary old TV? You could be seeing first-run movies, unedited, without commercials. Their first time on television. Exclusive specials and sports. Live from where they're happening. Right on your own television. Without ever leaving your house. With Request Pay-Per-View TV. It's the easy way to see the very best in movies, sports, and specials.
I got running rebel fever burning up my mind. I got running rebel fever and it feels so fine. I don't need to see a doctor or stay in bed all day. The only thing I need is just to watch those rebels play. I got running rebel fever burning up my mind. Yeah.
One of the tougher ones we've seen this year on Sports Channel. And welcome back once again to the Thomas & Mack Center, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, the #1 team in the nation, with a 51-point win. Up by 51, the final score 114 to 163 over the 49ers of Long Beach State. I'm Joel Myers alongside Mario Palladini. Got away from the 49ers very, very early tonight, about 8-9 minutes in.
It kind of teased everybody because they came out and they played so well. They were running their offense. They were tough, aggressive on the defensive side. And then UNLV went to the zone. They couldn't handle the zone. They made mistakes, turned it over, and you could just see it slipping away from that point on.
Starting to sound like the same old song and dance. We talk about those two games against New Mexico State. Of course, New Mexico State upset tonight at Cal State Fullerton. But you wonder if that's going to be a test this year for UNLV, because right now it doesn't look like anybody in the Big West, with that exception, that one team, New Mexico State, is ready to really give a test to UNLV.
True. New Mexico State's going to be a tough game down at Las Cruces. But I think this Monday night will be a good test, too. The last time UNLV lost on the road was at Santa Barbara last year. Now, that was a better Santa Barbara team, admittedly, than they have this season. But it's tough playing in the Thunderdome, and I'm anxious to see how Santa Barbara responds with their younger players and the big crowd that they get up in Santa Barbara.
So another big win for UNLV, and a very easy one as they pulled away early in the first half. The second half just coasted. The reserves got a lot of time tonight at the Thomas & Mack Center. That final score once again, the Runnin' Rebs 114 and the 49ers of Long Beach State 63. So UNLV raising their record now to 13-0, the nation's longest winning streak, up to 24 straight. While Long Beach State suffering the setback, now 5-9 overall at Long Beach State, falling to 1-4 in Big West play as UNLV 7-0 in the Big West. And don't forget, with New Mexico State losing, they have suffered their first loss in Big West Conference play. They have dropped now to 4-1 in the conference. And New Mexico State at 12-2 overall. For our producer Michael Ireland and our director Mark Goldsmith, this is Joel Myers along with Mario Palladini. Thank you for joining us once again from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. And we'll see you next Thursday night as the 49ers of Long Beach State are at home taking on Utah State. That's the next one up on Sports Channel. Have a good night, everybody.
Sauteed orange ruffy, or cioppino, giant buttered crab legs, or homemade lasagna. You're going to get some tough decisions at the Gold Coast's Mediterranean Room. But when you see how reasonable the prices are, your decision's going to be even tougher. Head for the Gold Coast, where fine dining starts at $3.95.
From the outside, people find the 1991 Jaguar Vanden Plas quite beautiful. But what they don't see is the beauty inside. Polished woods, hand-stitched leather, and finely crafted details offer a uniquely elegant environment. The 1991 Jaguar Vanden Plas. It's beautiful no matter how you view it. Jaguar, a blending of art and machine.
The 1991 Jaguar Vanden Plas, exclusively at Chasin Motor Cars.